On a recent trip to Southampton on Long Island, I met up with landscape architect Brian Mahoney for a look around a garden he designed that is full of beautiful and inviting features. You see, his sense of proportion, scale, and color really come through in such a harmonious way. Every detail in the landscape helps to underscore the architectural style of this Italian villa. Brian, when I was here last, of course it was in the winter, and none of this herbaceous was in bloom. I love this Astilbe and Hosta.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's a white variegated Hosta and a white Astilbe.
Well, I see that variegation occurring around the garden. I mean, particularly in this courtyard. You've got the corner planters with, I guess it's the Japanese shrimp willow?
Yes, we do. It's a standard form just for the planter boxes, the Versailles box.
Well, and these Versailles boxes, my goodness, they're gorgeous, and what a color.
Oh, thank you. The client loves the color.
It works so well with this style. Did the client say, look, I want an Italian villa, and that's what was produced? How did it come about?
She talked to the architect about at first, but when she met us, she really wanted the house to fit right into the older, previously established garden.
The elements that you've incorporated into this courtyard really work with the architecture of the house. I mean, I was always taught that the garden should follow, the house should lead in terms of design, and you've certainly accomplished that. I feel like I'm in Tuscany somewhere.
We have, the prevailing theme was not to have a suburban type of garden, which is why we ran the gravel right up to the main block of the house and try to avoid foundation plantings. And where we did need a foundation planting just for some softness, we would add an espalier or the southern magnolia.
Well, the espaliers are very handsome and very appropriate, and the southern magnolias, I've seen that in Italian gardens. They do love their magnolias there. Now, since this was an established property before you started and you had elements to work around, such as trees and so forth, it still feels like a very symmetrical layout, both in terms of the house and the garden.
Oh, it is. We tried hard to maintain that bilateral symmetry, starting with the courtyard itself, and even the legs of the in and outs of the driveway had to be aligned up so they missed the established trees on the road.
And the pool itself is a bit of a garden room in the way that you have it surrounded by boxwood.
Yeah, and it leads, the final pool area leads to the shade of the existing trees.
Even in the winter, the relationship that you established between evergreen plants and deciduous allowed the garden to be held up in the winter. It made it very visually interesting despite the fact that it was January.
The lines of the courtyard are very strong. There are no curves. I don't know if you've noticed, no curves in the courtyard. And even things like the espalier and the balustrade out back really take care of that.
You know, one of the things I think is so interesting about the way you laid this garden out is that you put the AC units, the heating and air, all of that tends to, we always want to hide, you put it in the front, but you can't tell it's here.
The utility pits are on either side of the house, and they're sunken just slightly, and we use the existing Bluebird hydrangeas to cover them up and kind of attenuate the sound. But no one notices them on when you're in the front because it's usually brief. You
Right.
could enjoy yourself out.
Yeah, so that you don't have that noise while you're in the back enjoying the garden or entertaining.
Yeah, it was a big success.
Well, it's just, the whole project is inspiring, and I thank you so much for sharing it with us.
You're welcome.
Brian.
Thank you.
Real pleasure.